everyone. Welcome to the Bout Nothin Podcast. It's me, your boy, Ethan. I'm back. I'm always here, though.
Yeah.
I'm always here. But I'm joined this time, instead of by Cade like the last two times, I'm joined by Dylan again, who I can't see behind the monitor.
Right, the ever-present.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of me.
You can't get rid of him either, but he just comes and goes. And I'm joined by Ian again. This one's not a probably or a sort of. This one's Ian for real. There's like two episodes that are like Ian kind of, because he's in the background.
Adjacent.
But yeah.
He actually allowed me to come on this episode.
Yeah, he's not just in the corner while I say edit that out.
He's like, you got your own podcast and you stay in your lane.
Now stay out of mine, you son of a... I had to stop. So, but no, so I'm actually joined by these two today, and these two, you already know who they are. They already have their own podcast as well. I'm on that one as well. They just can't stop me. I'm a bona fide podcaster at this point. But I wanted to start this one by talking about, you're right, it is a little bit weird, these monitors are in the way. I can see you, I can lean over, but
well,
you
you're
can
right.
see my hair.
Earlier Ian was like, do you want me to move these monitors so we can see each other? And I was like, it shouldn't be a big deal. They can stay here.
It reminds me of the old setup. I like it.
Yeah, but it also feels like I'm in prison.
You're ugly.
That too, yeah. My face scares him. But it feels like I'm in prison talking to the mother of my children through a wall.
Damn.
Oh, Jesus.
Call back to when I was in prison. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Maybe.
But
I may or may not have been incarcerated.
Oh,
the choice is yours.
The lore deepens, yeah. Oh, man. But yeah, I wanted to talk this episode with these two about the shows we've been watching recently.
More anime.
Yeah, well, we've talked a little bit about it. We didn't have an episode dedicated to it like I think this one's going.
At least not for Bout Nothin.
Yeah, but yeah, because we did talk about it a little bit on Aftermath.
It ended up being the whole episode. That was initially supposed to be just Vampire Hunter D,
and then
we just spiraled into like everything else we've been watching.
So
we also sprinkled in Helldivers while we're at it.
We can do that today as well. Don't worry.
Yes.
I'm helling and diving. So
I've been diving so hard.
So I haven't told Dylan what we were going to talk about because I wanted this to be a surprise, because I knew that if I mentioned it, we would start cracking jokes and stuff immediately. So I kind of wanted it to be a surprise, but Ian knows. I have basically exclusively watched any anime that Dylan has recommended, but I do not like anime barring that. The only anime that I watched was growing up. Naruto was on a little bit.
Right.
And
Boruto's dad, you mean?
Yeah, Boruto's dad was on. Cade's going to listen to this one and be so mad. I'm going to get a text message about that line.
Does he not like the joke?
Actually,
I don't know who Boruto's dad is, but I think he should get his own show.
Yeah. Actually, Ian, unironically, I want you to clip me mentioning Boruto's dad over and over again and just send him a mashup of me not doing Naruto. Holy shit. But yeah, I watched a little bit of that growing up, and I watched Code Geass because I think Chase recommended it or something. That's it. That's all I watched.
Oh my god!
And generally didn't like other animes, even whenever I tried. So I watched the ones that you recommended, and I so far, I was like, I like the ones I watched.
I don't miss
a few of he doesn't. the spoiler warning for where this conversation's going, he doesn't.
Dylan always dunks.
That's why we call him the subject matter expert, because he doesn't miss.
That's why I always call him Dylan Dunks.
Yeah, I call him Duncan. Yeah, that's your new name now. Man. So we watched, I guess we kind of started with Gurren Lagann, and then we went to Mobile Fighter G Gundam. We watched Standalone Complex, and
that was fun.
Yeah, and
I'm so glad you warmed up to the Tachikoma.
Yeah, I did.
Because I remember at first you were like, "Oh my god,
I hate them. I hate these children.
Annoying."
Yeah,
and then as soon
the same thing happened with May in Full Metal Brotherhood.
Exactly,
I was like, "If this girl stays, I'm not watching this show." And you were like, "Just wait." And at the end of the show, I was like, "If the girl dies, we riot."
Bro, I'm telling you, as soon as the fucking Tachikoma start making self-sacrifices.
I'm like, sad.
As soon as the Tachikoma got self-awareness, it was just downhill, bro. I loved it. So we watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood as well, and we just recently finished Free Run Beyond Journey's End, which I really liked that one as well. So far, my favorites have probably been, even though I enjoyed Standalone Complex, of the things we've watched, Gurren Lagann, Free Run Beyond Journey's End, and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, probably in that order, maybe, of the three that I really liked. But I did like everything he's shown, mainly because what I've realized is it doesn't fall into a lot of the common issues in every other anime. These have better characters, better writing. Everything seems fleshed out. Because I started watching my own animes. And I'm going to just go ahead and give you a spoiler.
Oh.
Even though I enjoyed one of them and will probably keep up with it. I had so many complaints that everything you showed me, I have minimally complained about. Right? I haven't been like, oh, this is, this is bad or this is annoying. Right. But there are so many times that I'm like, why is this character doing that? Why is this character thinking that? What is going on? What is happening? So many times watching other shows that I basically realized, Dylan resigned. I'm just gonna watch whatever he's watching, bro. I'm not even doing it. So one of the ones I watched, was this the one that you said Dakota recommended, or did I watch it for no fucking reason? Solo Leveling. Oh my god. Okay.
He knows.
So I went for.
You did not watch the whole fucking thing.
It's only 12 episodes.
Are you serious?
It's only 12 episodes in one season. Yeah. I watched the whole thing. It's only 12 episodes in one season, and the season's done.
Oh my god.
Well, it's actually 13 episodes, but one of them is a review episode, so I didn't watch that one.
Right.
7.5 is what that one's called. Yeah. Now I'm not gonna lie. I did enjoy the show overall, but I feel like the person who made this show doesn't know anything about the mindset of people who play video games.
Oh damn.
There are so many times that I'm like, but why? Why are you doing that? Why? And there are so many lines as well, like. Yeah, I'm not gonna. If you don't know anything about Solo Leveling, I'm not gonna try and explain the whole show. I'm guessing you know a little bit about it, Dylan.
No,
no, you don't. Okay,
No.
in that case, I have to explain it.
He told me like a little bit, and that was about it. I haven't started it yet.
Okay, basically, magic portals opened up, and demons basically started coming through. Demon animals and shit started coming through the portals. And whenever that happened, people were awakened. We don't know much about it or understand how it works, but people were awakened. They got magic powers too. When you get magic powers, the amount of power you get is set. That's it. You can get better through training, but you can't get any stronger. This guy is considered the weakest person ever. He goes into a cave and
very anime trope.
Yeah, very anime trope. He's the normal guy who's weak as hell. Right. He goes into a cave and basically he has to sacrifice himself. Episode 1, and he dies. But when he dies, he's able to come back and he gets something that looks like a video game screen. It's called the system. I'm pretty sure the twist is going to be that this is all a simulation or something, because he gets the system and basically it's treating it like he's the video game protagonist, which means that he can level up and but he has to do certain quests or face punishments. So he has to basically train.
And actually, now that you described this for a second time for me, I think I saw a meme about this recently.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I like the concept is pretty fun, and the execution's actually pretty good. Yeah, but there's so many times that I'm like, but why are you doing that, sir? Why? This guy is considered the weakest person ever, and even though his magical power can't get any stronger, he starts training because the main quest, like the daily quest, it's sort of RPG MMO style. The daily quest,
the MMO style,
is like strength and training is what's called something. He has to do like push-ups and sit-ups and run every day. If he does, he can get stat points, yada yada. So.
Sounds kind of cool, not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, legitimately. Yeah, he puts a bunch of them into strength and realizes how much stronger he is now whenever he has to fight something. But like, he immediately, for me, it's like, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it like this, though? Right? So he doesn't clear the notifications or read anything because he's like, "There's no way this is real." Which I understand, but also if I woke up and I could see computer screens and I was like, does nobody else see these? I would at least try and figure out what it means.
Right. I'm not gonna lie though, if I got finished up with a set at the gym and I could actually like apply stat points to my trait trees,
intelligence, I would see how much big brain I could get.
Dude, I tell you what,
complaint. He puts no stats into intelligence, and I was like, why would you not want to see what happens if you put stats into that?
I would just dump all. I'd drop everything to 1 and dump it all into charisma and see how good how far.
That wasn't an option. It's strength, agility, intelligence, endurance. Is there another one I'm thinking of? I don't know. There might be another one.
Vitality?
No, I already endurance. Yeah, that was that one. Oh, basically. Either way, he puts like all of them into strength at first, which makes sense. I'd probably do the same. Get swole. But then he finally starts going back into like fighting monsters and stuff because he puts stats in. He wants to kind of load test how strong he is now. So he goes into a dungeon, and he's still renowned as the weakest person ever, but he somehow survived this, and that's considered a fluke because the portals are poorly understood anyway. So everyone's like, we don't even know how it happened, but we're just going to have to call it a fluke. And so he goes to the dungeon with the people, and he comes out, and at one point his sister asks, wow, like you must be doing well because you didn't even get hurt this time. He's known for every time he goes into a dungeon, he gets hurt every time because he's the weakest.
Right.
So she's like, you didn't even get hurt. And instead of like right here, it's very understandable in the world why you don't want to tell people that you're the only person who's capable of getting stronger because no one else is.
Right.
It's also understandable why there's this very rare phenomenon called a second awakening where you awaken again and you have more power. But it makes perfect sense why you wouldn't want people to know about either of these because you don't want that kind of publicity.
Right.
Makes total sense. But this is your sister who's not a hunter, who knows that. And he's just like, crazy. like he doesn't even be like
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, like if this were me, I'd be like, yeah, I guess I just started working out and I really locked in and now I'm really able to not get hurt on these weak dungeons. Like, yeah, that will only last for a bit, but at least your sister won't think you're weird.
Exactly.
But instead of being this scene emo anime protagonist who's always like, I don't know what to do with this, like it doesn't work. And then it gets worse as time goes on. At one point, he's like, as he gets stronger, he's like, it's weird though. It's so fucking stupid. I hated it. He's like, it's weird though. As I'm getting stronger, it feels like a part of me is like, it's like, what is it like? Is like dying or going away. And I'm like, why though? Why?
God.
Is power instantly corrupting you? If you were going for that dynamic, you guys should have locked in for that because that would be a cool dynamic.
Right.
But it's like they just can't. And then like he gets gear, but he never puts it on. And it's like it has to. There's too much Deus Ex Machina.
He's like a really bad.
He's
like a really bad
it's
video
like a guy
game
who's
player.
never played a video game. Yeah, and like whenever he
no.
first finds out about the powers, like in some MMOs, people will like they just follow the story. Other people will like power level or like get over leveled for content and go back.
I've introduced some friends. Of the female persuasion into video games, and sometimes I feel like that where I'm like, you could open up your inventory and apply the new gear, and they're like, oh, cool, yeah, that's fine.
I don't want to,
going. And I'm like, but you
probably should. Okay, yeah.
You're walking into a very dangerous dungeon and you don't have any armor.
No, it's fine. I'm built different.
But you got a new sword that can really help you out.
I don't need
Dead.
Oh, you have potions. You can use them.
Yeah. And so he. And it's literally like that for this guy. Like he opens up a shop. He's like, I'm not a high enough level to open up the shop. And instead of every level checking when he can access the shop like any other video game person would, he just randomly at like level 40 is like, oh yeah, the shop exists. That could have saved you like 4 times, bro. Like, and then he has, so when he first gets like, figures out what this is, like for me, if this happened to me again in a normal, but what I'm realizing as well is that people who are making these shows, especially these kind of shows that are similar to like isekai style animes, every last one of them has A, never worked out in their feckin' life, and B, must be super giga autistic and not know how people act. because
what do you think the demographic is, bro?
No, I do get it. I do. But I'm just saying, like, they don't understand how, like, if you're just like bluff a little bit, maybe like just keep the charisma that you had before. Yeah, you're buff now. You started working out.
But you told me there's no points in charisma.
Yeah, but he had good riz before he unlocked this, and now he's a weirdo. Like,
I see.
Now he's a weirdo because he's like trying to hide everything.
So the power ruined his charisma.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like,
Jesus.
if you keep acting like you're trying to hide something, people are gonna think you're trying to hide something.
Precisely.
But yet he never acts normal.
Damn.
So he like is like immediately leveling up and just goes straight into like try and fight something. And I was like, couldn't be me. If I woke up and found out that I could put stat points into strength, I would invest every point into strength, and I would see if I could pick up a car and throw it.
Coming from
and once I could throw a car overhead, then I'd be like, I'm going to go kill some demons and go into a dungeon. Yeah, 100%.
This coming from Mr. Min-Maxer himself.
Yeah. I like, well, but here's the thing.
He's the guy who used to play Oblivion once upon a time and then stay in the goblin caves and get 99 heavy armor.
That's because that shit was funny and I liked that I could do it. But that's not the point. I did that to see if I could, right? But I had already played through Oblivion at that point. That was to see if I could. But if this is real life, your actual real life is at stake.
Right. Yes.
So I think that most people, like in games, some people do the over level and go back to content thing. Some people don't. That makes sense. Right. But in real life, I think an exorbitant amount of people would do the I'm going to play it safe and just do these boring daily quests for a while.
Yeah.
And then go and do an easy dungeon to get the money. Because the gimmick for him is that he has to get the money because his mom's in the hospital and his sister's in college and he's trying to make the money for the family. So he keeps going to the dungeons even though he's so weak because he's trying to make the money. And this is the best job he's got. So I'd pay the bills and I'd just keep, really like easy shit. And I'd be grinding. I'd be grinding because this is real life. Okay. Exactly. I'm not trying to die. But like, I'm over here just watching the stuff he's doing. And I'm like, I can't think of one normal, reasonable person who isn't an anime protagonist or wannabe anime protagonist that would do what this guy's doing. He's insane. He's stupid. And then, of course, there's also like writing and dialogue moments. There are these moments where I didn't realize how good the fight scenes and the dramatic moments are done in all the shows that we watched until I watched this guy consistently just scream for minutes, just waxing poetic about something that's pissing him off while a scene is just going on for too long. The fight I get it. You're going to be built different and you're going to kill the guy. Please just stop screaming the same thing. Why is it like this? I was getting so tired. I was like, next. Okay, he's done waxing and he can fight now. Like, I actually had to skip some dialogue.
Dude.
It was whack. Not to mention the fact that they have stats in this show, and yet he feels like he always just gets super powerful and overcomes everything anyway. Yeah. So it makes the stats feel unnecessary. All of this, and then I compare it to the shows that Dylan has made me watch. I say made me has told me to watch that I've watched with him.
Down and forced
straight up tased me if I didn't. If I looked away, it was considered treason.
Put your phone down.
Yeah, slapped me.
Watch this robot punch into the robot.
Yeah, no, watch it again. You didn't about to do the shining finger. You didn't. Say it with him. Say it. Shining finger.
If it's not word for word, you're going back in the hole.
You messed up the word. But yeah, so you're going back in the hole, back to the basement.
Ethan has
the
one
lotion on its skin, or else it gets the.
Ethan has one tear down his face. Psychiatric kill.
The winds of the king. To fuck your
Look, the east is burning red. Now, who is he? Who is he? Well, there's the defeated of the east. Good job.
That's right.
Oh man. Yeah, so I was like comparing all this show that I'm watching to those. And I'm like, even the times that they're like, and maybe again, it's part of it's because I'm watching it with someone. Yeah. So if we are roasting it, we're roasting it together. But I'm watching.
It's a little more fun.
Yeah, so I'm watching this like, why though? Why are you doing that? Why is this what you're gonna say? How are like people think you're crazy now? You went from a normal person to like, no, he's just a madman now because you're completely incapable of bluffing. Like after watching that, and then I started a different show, but you know what? I'm not even gonna name drop this next show because I'm not even 2 episodes deep into it. I don't know if it gets better, but this is the part where I realized that no person who makes an anime, Korean or Japanese or otherwise, has ever worked out. Because now this is 2 animes in a row that I started, and very early on, whenever the character is for one reason or another forced to work out to train for something, they're like, after 10 days of training, they're like looking at their hands dramatically like, it's weird though, my body sure does feel lighter. That's what happens. When you work out, your body doesn't hurt and feel like it's hard to move because you're stronger. Did you never, in your whole 20 years of life before you got dragged into another world or some bullshit, consider ever hitting the bench?
No, I can understand if that's the character's first time actually working out and they make that realization. Like, just from that perspective alone, I'd say it's excusable. But if it's happening consistently and he's doing it like multiple times, there's something wrong.
Yeah, no, it's not that telling multiple times. It's just that it's over the course of 2 animes within like 3 episodes of both animes. The character who was forced to start working out is like, it's weird though, my body's lighter. That's not weird. You're working out.
It's just 2. I'm not saying that doesn't happen often.
But again, the animes that you show me are like the accepted, the good ones, you know. Right. So I'm over here thinking that every anime that Dylan doesn't recommend is all going to be some character who's just heartlessly stupid or helplessly dumb. I didn't mean that. That was a joke. But like, like these people are like, wow, it's like my body feels lighter. That's what happens when you work out. Yeah. Did you never in your life consider that before this moment? Before someone threatened to kill you if you didn't do push-ups. Damn. That's what it took for you to realize that your body feels. Yeah, that's how that works. Death. Yeah, like that's what it really. Like, damn, bro. And like, oh man, I don't know.
That's funny.
I'm like watching these shows, like, man, these characters are if these characters are relatable to the general population of the East, this is bad, man. Because these characters, of the East. Yeah. These characters are horrible. They're just terrible people all around. personality and everything. They are the least relatable people. Main characters in animes so far, by and large, have been the least relatable people.
And I think actually,
ever.
I think they're supposed to be bland and not very specific, so that way everyone can conform to them.
Yeah, exactly. And one of
That's
the
not to say
or that's
the
a
case
trope
for everything.
right,
Yeah.
right. That's the trope.
the
is
one that
like
what they're shooting for in both of
right.
these characters is pretty
the
bland.
bland main character that anyone can put
Yeah.
their archetype onto.
But the problem is by trying to make them bland, they make them like somehow so boring and unrelatably weird
Yeah.
that they're not bland. They're weird as hell. Like they and in one of these shows, the character's like this girl that he thought he liked ends up being like nerdy somehow and like understands whatever nerd shit. And he's like mentally, because it cuts away.
She's a girl and she's nerdy.
Thank you. That's exactly what's happening.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I was
God.
joking.
So like it does those cutaway moments where you can tell it's him thinking, not talking, but it's him in his head being like, wow, this isn't the vision of this, like the princess that I had in my mind. And I'm like, how is this a bad thing? You're a giant nerd and she ends up being a nerd too. And you're like, this isn't what I expected from her. This
What
is
is the
ruining
show?
my, like,
What is the name?
why? No, I have to know why
No,
you want to
tell
do this
me.
now.
You think it would
No,
be
just tell me.
perfect.
I know you said you weren't going to
match made in heaven.
drop it, but I
Because
need to know.
I
can bleep it out.
I can't truly. Yeah, please bleep it out.
Ian, edit that out.
You can bleep out in post. What's the
Right,
timestamp,
right.
Ian? All right,
we're at
bleep-
21 minutes.
21
Okay,
minutes
okay.
in. Okay, this one's called the.
Ah,
Yeah, I clicked it. I watched
man.
it. Yeah, I did. I'm only 1.5 episodes down. Okay,
Dude.
I'm not even 2 episodes in because I was at work and I got a call. So I was like, I'm gonna stop watching because I got a call. And I got back to the station. And was like, I don't even know if I want to start the show back up, Chief. I was like, I'm gonna have to go home and like get a Guinness and maybe start it over a drink. And
If I'm drunk,
Yeah.
maybe.
I need to be inebriated to
Maybe.
continue. But I was like, because it seemed so interesting and I loved the concept on paper. And I started watching it. I was like, yeah, no, I don't think this is it, Chief.
Damn,
I don't think. So all of that was to say, so far, Dylan, you are right. You've managed to get me somewhat into anime, but I think I'm just going to stay. Even Dakota's recommendation of Solo Leveling, which was not a bad show. Dakota,
Right.
if you're listening to this, I did enjoy the show, and I do intend on keeping up with it. I have lots of complaints about the show and about how it was handled and the pacing and the reasoning for things. I feel like there was too much like Deus Ex Machina moments where it felt like there's no reason for a character to ever have any struggle because you just know they're always going to get out of it.
Right.
It doesn't feel like there's any weight to decisions that are happening because like it just seems like they're made for no reason. So I have a lot of complaints, but I did enjoy the overall show, character progression, content, and I thought it was a fun watch. So I will be watching it still. But still,
Dylan, you have to send this to Dakota now.
yeah, I enjoyed all of that, but I'm just saying, taking all of that and then like comparing it to all the stuff that you've forced me at gunpoint to watch,
Which has all been enjoyable.
yeah, has all been significantly better.
Like
It's
you're
not
gonna
just
watch
because
this
there was
and
a
you're gonna
shotgun. Yeah.
understand why I love it so
Yes.
much. You understand me?
Or even like we didn't make it like super far or finish it, but even like Iron Blooded Orphans, I was
Yeah.
able to enjoy. And I just. Yeah, it wasn't. I couldn't do it.
okay.
Like,
Just to kind of throw my own opinion in the ring here, I can definitely I may have watched more anime with Dylan than potentially you have possibly as far as like variety goes. And I will say it pretty much holds up. I don't think there's been anything bad necessarily that you show me unless you have specifically told me like this is going to be bad and we're
Right,
going to
this
watch
is
it.
awful,
This is
but
awful
it's
and it's
so
trash
fucking
garbage
funny.
and we're going to sit here and laugh at it. I was like,
See,
but
cool.
There's
even
like-
you said that about like Mobile Fighter G Gundam. You said
No, because look, I said that because the dub is hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, no,
And
that's what I was
that
gonna
is-
say. I remember you being like, you were like, we're gonna watch Mobile Fighter G Gundam, and I was like,
Because
why?
it's
Why'd you
such
pick
a-
this one? Because I'd never heard you talk about it before.
Exactly,
And I remember
yeah.
you saying like, oh, because it's the type of thing I think you would like.
Yes, it's
and it was
such
after
a
watching
fucking
Gurren.
departure from
Yeah.
what Gundam is.
Yeah.
Normally, that I know for a fact you were gonna like it.
Yeah.
because I know you like all the like over the top stuff. Like,
Yeah.
generally,
Oh, and that's one thing that you
Gurren
did.
Lagann was a hit with you, so I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I gotta find something
With
else
some
that's at
wacky,
least
yeah.
similar.
Yeah, and you mentioned the type of like Gundam fighting too, where like the way they have to have the suits,
Right,
and,
the
like,
mobile
fight.
trace
Yeah.
system, dude. I
Yeah.
fucking love that
It's
thing.
so
It's
sick.
so cool.
Yeah. So like I did get why, and it did work, but you were like, this one's a little bit bad,
Right,
but
it's
like we're
goofy.
gonna have to watch it dubbed because
It's
it's
silly
funny.
and it's goofy.
But
Whimsical
then
even.
I watched it and I was like, no, wait, I'm kind of locked in here.
Because it's fucking cool. It's so cool.
I kind of like this story. There's the defeated of the East, my favorite line ever. When the undefeated of the East gets beaten, and I'm like, that's a defeated of the East right there.
Dude, nothing will ever top Super Asia for me. As soon as he announces that I'm going to win this tournament and go from regular like Master Asia to Super Asia, and the words in bold lettering just appear behind
the Shuffle
him.
Alliance. It's just it goes so hard.
Yeah, man.
But it's like, and it's funny because that is wacky as hell. And if someone is watching Solo Leveling and is like, wow, he's talking up Mobile Fighter G Gundam, and decides to watch it, they might not fully get why I dislike one and not the other.
It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It's going to be too crazy and silly for some people.
But the thing is, like, if you're gonna do like. Because, again, I can't even say that one. The other show I talked about, we'll use that one instead. Like, if someone's watching that show and then decides to watch Mobile Fighter G Gundam, they might be confused why I like Mobile Fighter G more. And here's what I'll say. Whenever a show is intentionally, like, playing into tropes and being anime and being wacky, it feels like okay. But these shows, a lot of times, they fall in this gray area of, like, they want to be different and they kind of want to be serious and have a different tone with a serious story. And they cannot mix that with any sort of goofiness because it just doesn't. It clashes so hard.
Yeah.
But like they integrated it really well.
The tropes feel very apparent.
There's a difference between putting the tropes in because you think it'll be funny and you think it'll be fun to play into the tropes, and putting the tropes in because it feels like you didn't have a better character, so you want to play into the trope instead. The character still doesn't have a good design. It doesn't feel like you picked that to, have it in there as a joke, but you already had a character. Yeah, exactly. The character was already written and you made them a trope afterward to try and add some comedic value. Yeah. It feels like you put a trope character in because you needed a spot for a character. And it doesn't feel like there's as much going on there.
Right.
So
we were even talking about it earlier in the car. Sundares.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Vegeta's the best one, man.
Number 13.
Yeah, that's pretty high on the list, all things considered.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I had something else to say about the shows overall.
Just to kind of wrap up a little bit, like that I kind of was saying before as well, is like recently another thing that like we were about to start the Big O again, Dylan and I, but before we did that, Dylan was like, I just want to quickly show you just like one episode of this anime called Outlaw Star. Outlaw Star. I keep wanting to say Starship something. Outlaw Star.
Starship.
And yeah, right. And at first I was like, I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, he's hyped it up before, and he has this really cool box set of it, which it looks really pretty and it's really cool. And we played the first episode of it, and I was like, "Damn, dude! Now I want to."
Can we watch this?
I was like, "Well, no, because then I was like, because again, how that anime works, along with other really good ones, is they really end the episode with a to be continued, and it's tantalizing enough for you to go,
that's the hook.
Damn, I gotta watch another one.
I have to know.
And
what
so,
happens.
and again, usually always Dylan, whenever we sit down, like our little anime or show sessions, we sit down in where we drink tea and have a little watch session. We watch 2 to 3 episodes of something.
I need tea. I should have made that before we started the podcast. Sorry, keep going.
Is that we watch 2 to 3 episodes in a sitting, and so we watched the first one. I was like, well, by God, dude, we just got a to be continued, and I'm hooked.
Whack.
So let's go ahead and start. So we started the second one, and of course, it ended in a to be continued. And I was like,
they can't keep doing this. They can't keep getting away with it.
We stopped that session, and then, not gonna lie, a couple days later, I was like, "Hey, Dylan, can we? I don't know. Can we continue watching
as soon as
Outlaw Star?"
Come to me,
Ian comes just like,
dude, that's how I know. It's like, oh, he's in. Man.
Can we watch Outlaw Star?
Please?
I'm doing the finger thing so that Dylan can see it.
He's pointing together.
Dude, I got him.
Oh, no, because again,
got him.
Right.
I'm in.
And the thing is, I know he was being honest about. Like, I just want to show you one episode of this just to kind of get the vibe for it.
No, he had planned out all along.
But I think that also
Checkmate.
That show hit a certain nerve for me that was like, man, like that. It really kind of hits that vibe I like.
Yeah, no, that's what Free Run was for me. For 100%. Yeah. And that's actually what I was going to say.
I think I had mentioned this on the because we didn't finish it yet. Yeah. But I was fucking amazed that you wanted to watch, because you had seen little snippets of whenever me and Chase were watching it, and I was like, "Is he? There's no way. Right?
There's no way.
This isn't. It can't be."
It hit a very specific. Now, here's the thing for me. It hit a very specific thing that I really enjoyed, but also it's just straight up good as a show.
It's comfy.
And yeah, and I like that it does things differently, but I also like that it does that same thing we're talking about, where like every episode feels like it ends in a way that you want to tap into the next episode. You want to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't imagine having to watch that like as it came out, like you guys did,
because I mean it's a pretty short series. There's only like 20 something episodes.
Yeah, 28.
It feels pretty standard.
And but the thing is, it was just, and this was
we
what I was,
practically binged it.
We did, and I was saying this happened with the end of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, where it got to the point where
everything's ramping up.
Now, but here's
climax,
the thing:
dude.
I feel like there so much is trying to happen in that show that one episode could never really contain it all, and so it felt like toward the end, again, I couldn't imagine trying to watch a couple at a time. It seemed like I had, and we ended up binging like the last 10 episodes or something like that for Brotherhood. This show, I like could imagine doing that because every episode felt like it, like even whenever it was like a climactic end and it was like a cliffhanger, it still felt really concise and they did a good job. We still did binge a lot of it and it was really good. But it's one of those shows that for me it drags you in and keeps you wanting to watch it, even though it's like more of a vibe. There's not as much like dramatic, crazy fights, but like my favorite scene in that entire show is whenever it finally kind of gets serious and you finally see that Frieren, this like comical character who's weird and
sassy grandma
is like serious about a lot of things, you know, and all that. You see how truly serious she is about how much she knows about killing demons.
Right.
And when you first see her see demons, that scene goes hard.
She's on the spot.
On the spot, right? Drops things and is like, let's kill him in the middle of the city. She's like, demons, I'm gonna kill them. Like legitimately, it's on site.
Trained her whole fucking
life
of her life.
Freeren's so on site.
Dude, it's on deep for demons on site. Dropped the suitcase, summoned the stick, and was like, they're dead. And people are like, you can't do that in the city. And she's like, but they're
Try and
demons.
stop me.
Yeah, I'm Frieren the Slayer.
Yeah, I don't think you know this, but right now it's go time.
Yeah,
Right.
and so like she roasts a demon that tries to kill her, and he's like, "You young demons are so stupid," and kills him.
She grabs him by the neck and fucking explodes his head.
Just like crushes his throat.
So
What do you do? What do you do in Helldivers whenever like you get the upper hand on all the bots? You're so dumb. You're so stupid.
So I recently started just like talking trash to the bots in Helldivers. I have videos of trying to edit. I was gonna get to Helldivers later, but yeah, I start being like, "Wow, what an idiot! You're bad. You're so bad." And I start like just blowing up and like I start like flexing on them and like saluting them and all that, and then I get blown up eventually.
You were describing Frieren, and I was just imagining her going,
her being
"Oh,
like,
you're so bad."
No, but she does
strangling them and just be like, "You suck so bad."
This guy like tries to strangle her with like magic rope, and he like was going to kill her. He's like,
she's
the fight's
just playing it cool the whole time. He's
like,
wow, this is a pretty strong wire.
He's like, the fight's already over, and she used magic to protect her neck, and she's like, stop being so overconfident.
Right.
And then like
you ain't shit.
He's like, well, I'll just do that, and she's like, you probably could, but also I still have two perfectly good hands.
What?
And then just
waves
him. Yeah, waves an arm. He just cuts his arm off by waving her hand.
My God.
And he's like, what?
What the fuck?
How did you do that? And he picks up his other hand, and she just jumps on him, grabs him by the neck,
and then he's like,
wait. He's like, wait, stop, wait. And she's holding his neck like, you young demons are so overconfident, and then just collapses as dead.
Oh my God.
And again, she's got this like heartless stare, like these. I have to do it. So she's sitting there,
hard coded.
It cuts to her and just like blood on her face, and she's like, "Oh, this is bad. He killed the guard, and they're gonna think that I killed the guard now."
Yeah. So she just runs away.
But that's not even the part that's my favorite. My favorite part, like maybe not favorite, it's definitely top like 3 of the whole show. Is whenever I mean, Dylan already knows what this one is. I told this to you already, Ian, I think as well. But it's whenever she deceives one of the demons, and the demon, I didn't want to spoil it too much because Ian actually wants to watch the show at some point.
Yeah.
But she deceives one of the demons and then basically mind controls the demon, and it's a trick. And she like doesn't even like, it's like she gets no pleasure out of saying this, but wants to do the easiest thing possible, and just turns around to walk away and says, "Aura, kill yourself." And so this demon, who now has to follow the command, is like, "What? No!" Takes the sword and kills herself. It is so metal.
Lightning strike.
Yeah, and
Low
like,
tier
and
God moment.
Yeah, exactly.
You should kill yourself
now. No, that's exactly the joke I was making. Yeah. And so she walks away, and of course the whole like army of corpses then falls over because she's dead. And it was just the way that she said it, so nonchalant.
Oh yeah.
So like,
So
well,
badass.
I think I'm gonna make you kill yourself, and just walks off. And I was like, this is so metal, right? This goes from like, I think I mentioned this as well early on. I was like, this is basically just like slice of life anime for a little bit. This is like after she killed the Demon King, what is she doing with her life? And it's like collecting spells, like doing whatever.
Right.
And then it goes from that to low tier god moment. like, actually insane, dude.
You should kill yourself
now.
Dude, I can't get over the fucking Thunderbreak edit.
Dude,
from
I
Super
know.
Robot Wars.
I need to see that.
Dude.
I just imagine like just Freer being
It's
KYS and just
it's so metal because like you're used to. I was like, and I even said this during the show, like. There's two different free runs. There's the like, there's so much loot, and she's sprinting toward the dragon's nest, and it literally is saying, and it's translated at the bottom. It just says "yippee" at the bottom. She's like, "Yay, loot!" And like her 16-year-old basically daughter Fern is walking behind her like, "You can only take two things with us," and Fern's like, "Wee!" to like 2 episodes later, she's like, "Aura, kill yourself." Just emotionless. Like, holy
man.
shit.
Yeah. It's so good.
She's in business mode.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. God,
Freer the epitome of locking in.
dude, just locked in so hard. Freer the
Demon
Slayer.
spotted.
Yeah. So
You can't do that in town. Watch me.
yeah, I'm
What are you gonna do?
Freer.
Yeah. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
You and what
Stop
army?
me? Yeah.
Okay, you can keep this demon around then. Fine, I dare
Right.
you.
Don't say I didn't warn you.
I won't be here to clean up your mess whenever you die.
Actually whack.
That's
I'm
great.
so
It
glad
was-
you enjoyed it, dude.
It's such a good show, but yeah, for me it hit a niche of that like after the journey ends sort of like what do people do in a way because I feel like a lot of shows don't have good epilogues, and I think I like
interesting.
that the purpose of this show is an epilogue to a journey that you don't even really get to see.
Right.
You learn about the journey
The
as she
unexpected
goes,
journey, yeah.
and because she's a unique character that wants to learn more about people because she doesn't understand people's emotions, especially not humans because she's lived for thousands of years.
Right.
That she's trying to understand that and get people and learn more about them. So you learn more, like a lot about yourself and about the character and how other people look at things. It has this sort of like put yourself in someone else's shoes. It's like kind of like so like there's a lot of nice little things to learn, but I also like that you have to think about like other shows that I don't think have good epilogues. Like even like one show that did it pretty well that I'm still going to critique is like not show, but one thing that it was like Harry Potter. Like Harry Potter, you'd think that there would be some sort of epilogue after for like, you know, does he go back to school?
Right.
You know, does he? And instead, the epilogue is like he's 30 now and has kids, and his kids are going to school. He gets with the girl, and Ron gets with the girl. It like skips just so much. And like I do understand that maybe she didn't want to have like a whole. She wanted to have 7 books and not have an epilogue. It's still like wild to think like I'm sure a lot of people would have enjoyed like. Maybe not a whole book, but like a few extra chapters of like explaining why he didn't want to go back to school, and if he did, like what are people treating him like in school because he killed Voldemort?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
what? How does that look? How does imagining a sort of mix of like PTSD, but also like now that the journey's over, what do I do now? This mix of like, what do you do? Because also I feel like as a reader, when you finish a book, what do they call it? They call it a book hangover, right?
Yeah.
Where like you finish the book and you're like, what do I do with myself?
What now? What?
The story's over and I was really invested.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you have
little
a
empty,
better epilogue, then you can feel like you can tie it up in a bow and you're like, wow, that's so neat.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a writer, but it just, to me, it seems like if there was a better epilogue, it doesn't feel like,
Instead
and
of
they lived
holding
happily
on to
ever
that,
after,
you're able
book
to
closed.
just shelf it.
Yep.
I've had that feeling before with shows that came to an abrupt end or that didn't get a continuation or whatever, and I felt like I was a bit robbed out of it, and I get that feeling.
And so,
and I feel like there's a show, and I won't out it because again,
you can censor it. I have to know.
Okay, is that right?
You can censor it. Beep.
I know exactly what you're
he knows
talking
exactly what I'm talking about, and I felt a little robbed at the ending because I enjoyed the show and I thought it was so great, and I feel like the ending
such a good show.
kind of took it away from me, and I still love the show because it's so interesting.
What's the show? What's the?
I don't. It's.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
It's a really cool show.
thought it was one of the ones
and
that we had
it,
seen.
It has such an awesome universe and world. It has an interesting protagonist that has some secrets and a past, and is.
But
and
the
it's kind of
ending feels.
But the ending
abrupt
it felt very rushed for me a little bit, and it felt a little bit disingenuous to the character. I feel like and not to say that the character wouldn't do some of those things, but in the span of time, it felt super quick. Like the decisions that were
sort
made.
of like Game of Thrones, where like you can see how like
Yeah,
like,
yeah, a
Daenerys
little
would
bit.
do what she did, but she
At the-
ended up doing them so quick.
There was
people don't understand.
some forgiving and moving on of some things that I was like, that may come with some time, but the span of events from episode 18 to 19 or whatever it actually was, I'm just hypothetically out there,
Right.
felt very quick. That there was a
Yeah.
quick turnaround of like people's emotions and forgiving and moving on.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's just like things like
It'd
that.
be one thing if it just did that on its own,
Right.
But thankfully, it's got an excuse in the way that like the manga handles things,
Right. And so
because they were able to like expound upon everything properly, and
right. And that's why, like, again, the show's not bad, but at the very end, I was like, I was a little upset because
No,
I was
I get
like, and because again, it happens very fast, and then boom, the end, we're over, and there's nothing else, no
Yeah.
season 2, no
Yep.
nothing. And I was like, but why? But I don't understand.
And, that's why I feel like is for me the thing that I like about Free Run is like, even though I don't know what the journey was, it fills this perfect spot where it's like after the end of a journey, insert any journey here. What does it look like for the main characters who grow old? And it still skips a lot of time.
Oh yeah,
Like the next time you see Himmel the hero, he's old now, and then he passes away like instantly, and so it's like it still happens a bit quick, but like it's still nice, even just in montage form, to sort of see how time passes differently for Free Run because she lives for all these thousands
the
of years.
moment when she like breaks down at the funeral,
God, whack.
God, after
I
like
know.
watching the full show, that hits way harder.
Whenever I like first watched the show, I started making the joke that every time something sad would happen, I'd be like, "Dylan, why'd you tell me to watch this show?"
I'm so
And
sad.
I said, "Dylan, why'd you want me to watch this show? This is so sad." So then I started saying, "This is so sad. I'm so sad." Alexa, play Despacito. Meme. And I would say that every time something sad would happen, I would say that meme. The problem is, it became like a running joke because I would say it probably 3
So
times an
often.
episode.
Yeah.
Because there's so many times that you look back on things and you're like, "This is so sad. I'm so sad.
I'm so
oh my
sad.
god." This person's talking about how his family like died and how he's only alive because of this. And Free Run's like, but you have to like keep going or some shit. And you're like,
Right,
damn,
right.
it's whack that she's saying that of all people. Like, I'm sad. Like, and the whole show is just like sad moments of like, again, in a sort of Gurren Lagann-esque way, which I say this a lot because I think this is like a theme for a lot of anime, like keep going in the face of adversity.
Right.
But because Gurren Lagann did it so well, I compare all of them.
Oh
to
yeah,
it.
well yeah, it's a cornerstone.
It's a very indomitable human
The
spirit
row,
thing
row.
to avoid saying row row fight the power. This is a very indomitable human spirit kind of show where she's like everyone's like you have to keep
Indomitable
going.
elven spirit.
Yeah, right. Versus the indifferent cruelty of the universe.
You said something really interesting about that show that made me feel it put into words how I was feeling about Outlaw Star.
Yeah.
Is that each episode had that kind of to be continued aspect, but there was still a through line.
Yeah.
So like the overarching story felt like it was to be continued, kind of moving along, but each episode felt really concise and like the little micro stories that were going on.
yeah.
That like it felt like it.
The fucking cactus.
Oh my god! There's so many great episodes. It's so funny that each episode had a conclusion in some way, but not the overall conclusion, which I think got me hooked. Is that we're like you're saying a little bit about like slice of life. We're kind of getting the ins and outs of what it's like to be a bounty hunter with this elaborate spaceship now, and you're a couple of young boys just trying to make some money.
Exactly.
And then
I
now
feel like you get that with the shows. Like you get like a lot of like the daily stuff of like, oh, we need more money, we need to do this. We're trying to get along, and we're like these people, because they don't understand each other very well, or keep pissing each other off. And so you get a lot of this like them trying to make amends, and because they're all still friends.
Yeah.
But you also get the like, we need to go this way now. We need to do. And the stories. There's only one episode that I feel like. And I couldn't imagine skipping it.
Right.
There's only
Yeah,
one episode
right.
in all of Free Run that feels like it's like a filler episode, and it's whenever Fern gets sick. They
Oh, yeah.
pause, but even then, the character development seems important enough that
Right, it still feels
I
rooted.
feel like it's worth that skip. But basically, Fern gets sick, and Free Run's like, "Yeah, why does she think I'm babying her?" And because she's an adult now, but also like I've lived for a very long time. You guys are all children to me. Like
Right.
even the oldest of you.
I had a
guys are-
hand in raising you.
Yeah, like and that's the thing is like she was there for your entire life. It's been none of her life, and she raised you from the time you were like 8 that you
Yeah.
pulled up. So like it's weird, but like you can see, and even Stark realized it is like she was only mad at you because I was there,
Yeah.
and like it's like a nice thing, and you get to see other characters. Like nothing really happens. They just Fern's sick,
Right,
and
right.
she gets better, and they move back on the journey. It's just like a literal pause and then restart the journey.
It's
One
the-
of my favorite
it's the-
fucking things about the show is that whenever Fern is angry, she's just got a little pouty face.
Yeah. She's not even.
But
everyone's
Stark
terrified.
Stark and Freeman will react as if she fucking exploded and said some of the most heinous shit, but she's literally just sitting there pouting.
It's so funny. And like at one point, Freeman's like, she's doing the worst thing she can imagine to me. And then it smash cuts to Fern pouting with her arms crossed, sitting on the bed with now Freeman sad with the sad Freeman face, my favorite face, the sad Freeman face. Yeah. And Stark looking like scratching his head. And the next dialogue she says is the silent treatment. That's it. The worst thing she can think of is her pouting, sitting on the bed, giving her the silent treatment. And Stark's like,
damn.
Hey, what happened?
Right.
And what it ended up being, literally, she was hangry. That was it. That was
get out.
the whole thing. Like, she just wanted snacks, and that was basically it. Like, it's so funny to me.
I love how you were saying that, like, that one episode just kind of felt like a little bit of a filler, and that feels like such back from the old days, a bottle episode.
Yeah.
Where it's just everything's contained inside this one little thing.
Yeah, pretty much. And, like, I feel like a lot of other, again, shows do filler episodes,
Yeah.
People talk about, like, Naruto's filler episodes or, like, One Piece's filler, because they're, like, or even Bleach had a lot of Eric. Because I think I did watch a good bit of Bleach with Eric. I can put that on the list, too. But, like, they had, like, a good amount of filler episodes that people straight up just, when they're recommending the show, they just tell you to cut those episodes out. Like, nothing happens.
Right. Yeah.
But this one, it's like, I couldn't imagine doing that with this episode. It just felt kind of like a filler episode. But it was still great. Like,
it's like you said, that you still get to see the evolution of the characters a little bit.
Especially on a show that's designed around being a sort of epilogue, even though it's a story that you haven't seen.
Yeah.
It feels like I want that kind of content, Like, again, to me, it fills that niche of, like, whenever a story's over, how do things go after that?
Right.
And so she's going and visiting all of her friends because she realizes that she wants to get to know them better and is, like, asking them if there's something else she can do to help because she knows that she's going to outlive them. So she wants to have, like, these nice memories of them one last time. And so it's like, this is really nice. Like, this character is, like, going to revisit all of her friends. Like, you get to see how they all went, and they all went their separate ways and succeeded in their own ways in their lives. And it's like, this is so sad, but I love it.
So
it's the
sweet.
Perfect kind. Exactly. It's so sweet. Like, it's perfect.
It feels like, is it melancholy? Is that kind of a...
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
That one's big. I like that.
I like
That's a
big
nice
word.
Not really sadness, but it has this kind of like,
longing.
Yeah, forlorn kind of feel.
Yeah. And all of...
Well, you thoroughly hyped up the show, and I'm excited to watch it.
well,
I've obviously, not just you, but everyone really been
yeah.
typing it up recently, but you talking about it specifically is really getting into it.
Hopefully, especially because I'm a guy who doesn't really like anime generally. Hopefully the hype makes sense, that even though, like, if it's not your thing, like, because there are people who want action-packed stuff, and this isn't really it. So it's not going to be your thing.
Oh, yeah, no.
But, like, as, like, a side show or something, 28 episodes of, like, chilling, especially because what I was doing was I would come over here, we'd watch 5 episodes, because I'm used to coming here and watching, like, movies for the podcast.
Yeah.
So I would come here and watch a movie or something, and then we would do the podcast. I'd be here for like 3 hours plus, generally.
Right.
So whenever I came here just to watch the show, they're like 24-minute episodes, 30-minute episodes, So, like, if I'd come here, I'm going to watch probably between 3 and 5. So we decided on watching 5 of them, and I'll be honest, the memories that I have are already fantastic of that. Coming, I don't really drink beer either, but, like, knowing that I need to drive home, so, like, I'll have a beer and start the show, straight up fantastic.
A couple of gas station trips we made.
Yeah, just coming over.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, like, just coming over, drinking a different beer, and just watching 5 episodes. And so we did kind of binge it, but again, I'm used to being here. And also, at one point, my power went out, and I was getting my tire fixed on my car.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I had to come pick you up.
There's a horrible storm going on, and my tire is out on my car, so I can't drive my car, and I don't have power. So I'm just I just can't do shit.
Me, like, pretty, like, late in the evening, and I'm like, what's up? And he's like,
you want pizza? Because I ordered pizza, and then my power went out. Yeah. So I'm like, 'cause I'm stuck at home. So again, I don't. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna get my tire fixed, and I'm stuck at home. Power goes out. Like, I'm laying in bed about to get up after, like, ordering the pizza on my phone, and I sit up on the edge of the bed, and, like, I looked over and realized that my 2 lamps were on.
Right.
Because I think the power flickered and turned them on because they were off. And I was like, why are those on? And then, much like what just happened, but both of my, like, that's right. It's like, I think I got to, like, do something, and then my lights turned off, and I was like, oh, the fan stopped.
Oh, damn.
And I was like, holding my breath because normally sometimes it'll just come right back on.
Right.
A tree fell on a power line near my house, so it didn't
Yeah.
come back on for 2 whole days. So I texted Dylan, and he, the guy delivers my pizza, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't have power. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this right now," because I was holding a flashlight. Like that's how because I couldn't turn the porch light on. And he was like, "Yeah, actually, right as you put this order in, our power went out at the Domino's as well." And I was like,
Damn.
We'll figure out what you got. You guys have a generator?" He said, "No, I don't know what we're gonna do, but your pizza was done, so here you go."
Right, here you go.
And I was like, "Hell yeah,
damn.
brother! Good luck."
Yeah.
And so then I texted up Dylan. I was
Damn,
like,
that's crazy.
I was like, "I'll share this pizza that I got if
That
you want
sucks.
to."
Good luck though.
Yeah, so we came over and we were gonna do like 5 episodes, but the storm was still raging. And I was like, I don't want to drive back in that, and I know my power's still out.
Right.
So we watched like 7 episodes, drinking a couple beers, just eating pizza. Best thing ever.
Good stuff.
Best thing. Hurricane
Good stuff.
Party.
Right.
And so like it's one of those shows where it's like watching that with a friend and just vibing is such a good experience. And of course, at the end, it starts getting climactic and dramatic and like fight scenes, cool shit. So toward the end, it does start getting really cool. But like, man, for me, it does feel like that is a more of like the journey kind of show. Like I'm not rushing to see what next cool thing happens. They can sit in this city and just do random shit for
It's
the whole
small
show.
stuff.
Yeah, the whole. I loved it. Yeah. So for me, I feel like again, it's one of those things that I can imagine quite a few people that might not enjoy that kind of show. But man, it hit it for me.
I bet.
Now,
And then, of course, I immediately followed that up by trying to swallow 2 pills of other animes that I did not like nearly as much. And I was like, I'm going to keep listening to whatever Dylan
stick
recommends.
with me, man.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop next on the list, I think.
Oh, good, dude, so good.
I think. I'm not sure. We might do Big O. We might do
I
Cowboy
still
Bebop.
have a sizable repertoire of stuff we are able to watch like readily.
Oh, yeah.
Just because it's on the shelf.
Yeah.
But
On top of the Crunchyroll subscription.
exactly. Yeah. Now that you've got that under your belt as well.
Yeah.
So we'll take a look around, narrow down some options.
I wanted to say another thing is, after all the things that we were watching, we're talking about, one thing we watched that might have been, to me at least, watching it at first, would have been one of those things that's like, I don't think I'm going to like it, when it comes to anime, was actually Vampire Hunter D.
Shit.
Whenever this came on, I was like, we're touching the line here where I'm like, this doesn't have any specific things that I particularly enjoy. And I'm watching it. I'm like, I don't know anything about it. And I'm just not super sold on it because especially I don't know like the colors and all that, how it looks that gothic.
The animation is like so specific,
and it's like an older style as well. So I'm sitting here like, I'm not entirely sure that I'm gonna really enjoy this. Which again, for me, it is okay. I'm totally fine with that. We've got a good track record, but I'm okay with that. Not being the case.
Right. I'm waiting for the first miss.
My first
like
miss. Yeah.
My first bad.
I think the closest we came was like the first half of Standalone Complex.
Shit,
I
really?
couldn't get it. It wasn't a miss, but I couldn't get into it as much.
See, I kind of felt that.
It didn't scratch the itch for me as much.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll be honest. Getting started on Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, there was some point in the middle that, like, as much as I loved to watch the show, I couldn't bring my. Again, that might have just been animated out because that happens for me sometimes. I just don't want to watch it. But there was like a while where I just couldn't bring myself to sit down and watch portions of it. Probably also because I lived somewhere else now. I was farther, so it was a bit I don't know, but still, the beginning of Standalone Complex for me was a bit not really there. But then it started heating up, and I started getting a little bit of these like cyberpunk vibes that I started enjoying.
Any episodes involving Bato were the best.
Yeah, for
dude.
sure, 100%.
Oh, talk about big sad.
Oh God.
Frick, man, the Tachikoma and the freaking Bato.
The
dude.
moment where he's just sitting in front of his locker with the fucking trash can full of his booze.
So sad.
Like I lost my bot babies. I lost my fucking idol that I looked up to. I'm dead.
So
I'm sick
sad.
of this shit.
Alexa, play Despacito. But yeah, like I'll admit, like that one was it. But for me, Vampire Hunter D, I was like, I'm just not 100% sure about this one. I'm not sure I'm gonna enjoy it. But again, it's that thing where even if it's something I don't like, if it's executed well, it does it well. So for me, I'm thinking, I mentioned that I called like the lead character of Solo Leveling was getting this like emo vibe that again he didn't have before. So his character seemed like as soon as he got to the point where which I think other shows in general are guilty of, is whenever they get to the point whenever something cool happens and they are like, they go from the weakest guy ever who's super humble because he's being humbled every day, right, to like being able to not be that, he instantly gets this like cool guy attitude, and so like the character seems so disingenuous now.
Damn.
Because it goes from like, yeah, like I'm really humble because I know that like very early on someone calls him like someone's like whispering behind his back like, yeah, they call that guy the weakest hunter ever because he just hasn't been able to do it, and he's like, they're like, now quiet down so he doesn't hear us. And he says, too late, I heard you, but you guys didn't say anything that wasn't true. So like he's like,
he's
always being
self-aware.
humble. So he's like, yeah, but then after that, like you see him like not even halfway through the series, and he's just like trying. It seems like he's trying so hard to be this like emo style cool guy character that's like, you literally were the weakest ever. You would have like remember where you came from. Yeah, like you would have remained humble generally, at least a little bit, I would hope. And so
I feel like I know where this is going.
So, but when you take that and you get a character that is very like
knows where they came from.
No, not like that. When you take that, you take Vampire Hunter D, a character
I see,
that is
right.
deliberately very brooding and silent, and he lives a long life, and he's just like he's deliberately that way from start to finish. You know why? His character makes perfect sense. It feels genuine. It feels like the way his character is, that's just the way he is. That's his attitude towards life.
Dude, even up until the very end, whenever, of course, like the young girl, like it was kind of his sidekick for a hot minute or whatever, like he's at her funeral now.
And her granddaughter's there.
Yeah, right. And of course, then she's like, are you the guy? And it's like, and he just like gets quiet and brooding and walks
always talked about you.
Yeah, and it's like, oh,
I was here to fulfill a promise because she thought nobody would cry at her funeral.
Yeah.
Never been more happy to be wrong. And I was like, that's such a good line.
Dude,
He's such like a wholesome guy who's just like always brooding because he's like seeing all of his like friends and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, why does that sound familiar?
Yep. But yeah, which again, that's also I think an interesting thing that we went from Vampire Hunter D into Free Run Journey's End because again, it's literally the same thing for that she's lived
just a little more wholesome.
yeah. But even then, again, the whole show, I'm like, this is so sad. It's wholesome, but like it's the exact same type of thing as in Vampire Hunter D whenever he talks about like him living for so long.
Yeah.
The reason why he does what he does and stuff. It's like, it's just hardcore. So whenever I take that, again, this genuine, brooding, kind of emo-ish character, I guess you could say, and I take that and I look at someone who just, it seems like they've put that on a character that doesn't belong.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't earn it.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel like they. And again, if you give a character a reason to be brooding,
You
like
didn't
all
earn
my
that eyeliner.
if he started the show off like instead of you didn't earn that eyeliner, you just bought it from Tesco.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, you take that and you put it on a character like that at the beginning of the show, if instead of him being like they didn't say anything that was wrong, I am considered the weakest hunter, like self-aware but upbeat. If you give him an emo thing later, it doesn't work. But if at the beginning of the show, he's like, I'm just doing what I have to do. I know that I'm not very helpful. But if he's like kind of like down and sort of, it would feel like maybe it would have a through line, at least kind of.
Yeah. Or even if he does get all this power, but still maintains this demeanor of still being as weak as he was.
Yeah, like self-deprecating in a way.
Or even just the fact that everyone's like, oh my God, you're like the strongest one around here. He's like, nah,
he's
no,
like, there's no shot. Yeah, it's
there's
impossible.
No way.
There's absolutely
he's just like crushing dudes left and right, but like he just can't ever see himself as that.
They could have worked it in a way where he just does it by accident, and he just goes to like throw a punch and the dude fucking explodes. It's like, oh my God,
I didn't mean it.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And you see, like there's so many ways they could have taken this that I would have enjoyed.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm watching the show, I'm like, there's so many cool things that are happening, but every like episode, there's at least one moment where I'm like, yeah, okay,
but why?
All right. Yeah, or like, and there's times that like someone, like at one point, one of the people that was there whenever he nearly died. We're back on this topic. It was there whenever he nearly died. He sees them again, and they're asking like, what happened? How did you get so strong? You weren't like this before. And like the healer who was like, yeah, you used to always get hurt, and now I just watched you kick this guy's ass, and you should not have been able to kick this guy's ass.
Yeah,
like instead of just
I got better.
Instead of just talking to his two literal friends who are on his side and saying, yeah, look, because they understand.
Yeah.
He could just say, for very level with them for very obvious reasons, I had a second awakening, and I don't want this to be public. That's what happened. That's what it is. That's a total lie. That is still a lie. But you could totally bluff that so easily because of what happened.
Because that's actually a thing that happens in that universe.
And it's very rare, and there's a reason that you want that. Like, it makes sense.
And it also,
And then whenever someone asks what happened, how did this happen in that dungeon, the other guy's like, it was me, I did it. They're like, oh, yeah, the healer must have helped. Bless you. Damn, we're like on 6.
I'm sorry.
Not again. Last time we recorded with you.
It was just 4. It's just 4.
Okay,
Fine.
Sorry, 4. 4's your limit. Sneeze again, I'll fight you. But he the other character's like, I did it or whatever, and then looks at him and is like, look, I know you didn't tell me, but like you must have had a second awakening or something. And I can see why you'd want to keep that quiet. Like, why not have the character who we know is smart enough to do it and not be like, it's better if we don't talk about it. Now I'll go fight the boss. You guys leave. Like, dude, come on, bro. Your character would not have done. The guy that I met at the beginning of the show would not have done that. Would have been honest with his friends. Like, what is going on? And so it never feels genuine. Like, I can't feel like I could get an attachment to the character because it feels like the character's a different person.
Did you say did you say he took points out of intelligence to play the strength? Because that's
he
what
never
it feels
upgraded.
like.
He was like, intelligence must have to do with magic or something, and I don't have that, so he never put points into it.
No.
But it's very clear whenever he puts points into strength in the show, he's holding an apple and he just fucking crushes it. So it's very clear that this is a physical, tangible thing, and I just want to see how big brain he can get. 20 points into intellect. Could he just solve equations?
Yeah.
I just want to know.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
On the subject of bad, I cannot wait for us to watch Gundam Seed.
Oh, no.
Man. The problem is you keep telling me like this is going to be a miss. What if I like it?
Then I will disown you.
I don't feel like I will. I asked him a while back if Gundam Seed had Kingdom Hearts 3 dialogue, and that's why it's bad. And he said just about. And I don't think I want to watch it anymore. But then again, I am making you watch me play Kingdom Hearts 3, so I think we're only even.
See, it's a trade-off.
But isn't there is there 3 different seasons of
There
Seed?
is
There's
Gundam
so much
Seed,
Seed.
And then there is Gundam Seed Destiny.
So just
As
2?
far as like the main stuff goes, the 2 spin-offs are fucking fantastic. There's Gundam Seed Astray, and then there's Gundam Seed Stargazer, which is easily the best.
I've heard Stargazer from you was like
dude,
it's pretty good.
Oh, it's so much better. It's like night and fucking day, dude. It's
Really?
so good.
So how much Seed is there? Bad Seed.
2 seasons.
That's so much. It
And
feels like so much, and I can't watch any of it.
Are we talking like a wing seed? Are we talking like a wing season where there's like 40 episodes? Or are we talking like 20 something?
Yeah,
So
I don't
let me
need.
double
No,
check.
G Gundam has 48 episodes and it's one
That's
season.
what I'm saying. I was like, wing is the same way.
make
Gundam
sure.
Gundam Wing.
Honestly, if it's more than 20 episodes, take me out back and just shoot me.
I think
Take me out
if
back.
I'm not mistaken, I think Gundam Wing was like 50 episodes. I didn't know that until we were halfway through it. I was like, how much more do we have? It's like, oh, we're halfway. And I was
That's
like,
how I felt
wait,
about
what?
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Like it kept going after I was like, we've watched a lot of
There are
episodes.
50 episodes.
No!
Oh my god! Wait,
Okay.
50 per season?
No,
Oh,
just for the first, just for regular Seed.
Jesus.
Destiny, however, is
Jesus.
also 50
Ah!
episodes.
Yeah, no, you can just end me now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm sorry, dude, but it's
Oh man.
Bro, and if they're like 20 minutes,
you're gonna learn to hate the main character as much as I do. Dude.
That's okay. I forgot to mention that. I mentioned this to Ian. The main character that I hated from Catherine, I started developing a sort of miniature type of hatred for the main character of Solo Leveling as of Catherine.
Oh.
But a very, not as bad, because the main character of Catherine,
Yes.
Catherine, the main character of Catherine is a dirtbag and I hate him. But Solo Leveling's not as bad, but he started giving off the same vibes where I was like, I'm going to hate you soon, aren't I? I'm going to end up hating you,
he's
aren't
getting
I?
close.
He's
Oh,
getting there.
God.
He's towing the line.
There he comes.
Ethan squints eyes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hate you. All right.
No, that's almost exactly. I'm sitting here at my computer looking at the monitor, and he does something, and I said, "What? I'm gonna hate you, aren't I?" Because I was about to say why, and then I just leaned in a little bit and was squid. I said, "I'm gonna hate you, aren't I?"
See,
Oh,
the
man.
shitty thing is, the show probably has its moments. I'm sure.
See, yeah.
But it's
Have you actually seen all of it?
Yes.
Okay, I was
Part
gonna say,
of my
'cause if us
hatred-
watching it together is the first time you've seen all of it, I would cry.
Oh no! Part of my hatred for it comes from the fucking code gay ass character designs
Oh, really?
because I just cannot.
He doesn't like the
stand
lanky
that style.
code gas characters. Yeah.
Fucking whack ass noodle people. Bro. They do not look good.
Yeah.
It just hurts.
Code Giat.
Code. Yeah. The problem is there's no Gyat, bro.
No, there's not.
There's
dude.
no Code Gyat doesn't work.
There's a severe lack of gyat.
Yeah, that's the problem. I like them thick, and there's none of that in Code Geass.
Yeah.
So everyone's a noodle person.
Oh.
All right, total random side note though, because we talked about anime as much as I thought we would.
Yeah.
But I did have one story I wanted to share because recently I mentioned it to someone and they said something that reminded me of it. So
Yeah.
I a while back, I don't know if I mentioned this on the Aftermath. We'll have to see. I don't think I mentioned it here either, but if I have, then I'll just tell you what reminded me of the story. Whenever I was this is totally random comparatively, but I wanted to get it in before the end of the show because we're about to end it. Whenever I was I was working with a friend of mine, and we were talking about, I forgot how I even got this subject, but I was like, yeah, did I ever tell about the time that I was ghosted by the United States military? And he looked at me like I was crazy. So now I feel like I should explain the story.
You didn't mention that on any of the podcast, but you mentioned me in passing when you went to the restroom a couple hours ago. And I was like, okay, I got to hear more about that.
Yeah, so whenever I was in the hospital, it was the day after I'd gotten diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. So I got a text message from one of those Army recruiters, and I think it was the guard, and they text me with the normal. They text like every college student, and it's like, I would like to discuss with you, like, the benefits of why you might want to join the guard, or whatever they send to all the students, So I got that message, and I asked a genuine question, and I said, "Hi, I have just been diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. Keyword just with ulcerative colitis. Is this
load bearing just?
Yeah, just been diagnosed, comma. Is this a disqualifying factor?" Straight didn't respond to me. Straight up the recruiter, the United States Army, were like, I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
I don't know, bro, but I ain't going to risk it.
And like, I made the joke to one of my coworkers. I was like, yeah, man, like, I've been ghosted a lot in my life, but by the whole United States military, I'm impressed, And I had so much other things to be getting on with that it didn't really register what happened. I just thought it was funny. And then I got out of the hospital and was like, damn, he straight still hasn't responded.
Yep.
Like, just blocked my number.
He's like, he just crossed her name off the list and goes, no, that's a nope there.
He got that message and just said, shit, and just
motherfucker saw ulcerative colitis and was like, that's too big words.
But also, I really
he leaned over and said, hey, is that what is that?
Yeah,
he was like, that's a no. And he's like, okay,
Alexa, what's ulcerative colitis? Autoimmune? Yeah, I'm sure that's a disqualifying factor. And instead of telling, I just wanted a yes or a no.
Medication? Nah, I'm out.
Instead of telling me, he just didn't respond. I was like, I know he Googled that shit first and was like, what is it? Rare disease? Close window.
Yeah, guts out. Oh my God.
We
Active
can't have
shitter
that.
in the building. So another coworker, I made this joke too. They have the cards that are like, I have a condition and just can't wait. Can I use the bathroom? And I would never have that card, right? Especially because where we're at, every place has public bathrooms.
Yeah.
Like big cities have, like, you have to pay or you have to be a customer to use their bathroom. There's no public bathrooms.
Right.
Other cities do, but there's none of that around here. But I would still never get the card, but I thought it was so funny and I kind of want to get one. And because it's like I can't wait, it has like a toilet on it and it just looks so funny. And every time I see the card, I'm like, dude, I need me a card that just says active shitter in the building. So I
want to get it with like the little fingers like that and him going,
can I please? I'm about to explode. I have a condition. So I sent that I showed it to a friend of mine and I was like, by the way, we need to get these cards because she has Crohn's disease. And I was like, we need the active shitter in a building card. And she was like, yo, how did I not know this existed?
Like, oh, that's great.
Oh man. So just to get off the topic of anime, you guys can get active shitter in the building cards somewhere for like $6. And I want to frame it though. And I want to laminate that shit. Yeah.
Of course.
Kids are going to see that one day. It's like, Daddy, what does that mean?
It's a long story, Tommy.
Well,
as long as you don't repeat it.
It's a long story, Robothy.
I'll tell you whenever you graduate high school.
I would name my son. What?
I'll tell you whenever you graduate high school.
I'll tell you whenever you might be diagnosed too.
He's going to go to school that day and ask his friends, hey, what does this mean?
Yeah.
And they're
teacher, what does shit mean? He's going to say it wrong, and after saying active shitter in the building, going to lock down the whole school. Yeah. He's going to make that joke and get locked down. It's going to be over. Oh, man. But
I'm going to say it right. I'm going to say, what did you say?
Excuse me? Yeah. Run that back.
Yeah. Lock it all down.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, thanks for listening. This one was wild. I enjoyed this. It's been a while since I had both of you guys on and been able to record in a while. I was recovering from vacation. I say recovering like I really needed to. But coming back from vacation after the 2 episodes with Cade, 3 episodes with Cade, still 2. But yeah,
I don't know how many whiskey casts you have.
We have 3.
Really?
One with us 3, one with Cade, and then one after with Cade again after vacation.
You're right.
Yeah. Coming back from that, I didn't have the time to figure out who I was getting on, what we were doing. But yeah, good to be back. I enjoyed that. So thank you guys for listening. You guys can find us everywhere. Everywhere, including YouTube now. We have a YouTube link. That's right. Let me cook. Okay. Everywhere. That's right. Everywhere. Ring a bell in your backyard. Guess what?
We'll be there.
I'll show up with a card. Yeah, a card that says Bout Nothin Podcast.
I'll show up with a gun.
A gun that shoots Bout Nothin Podcast episodes. So we have a YouTube channel now. Ian found out the way to do some cool back end thing or whatever it's called, and it now uploads onto YouTube. So at Hindsight Studios, if you're not already listening there, most people that I've shown the show to are listening there.
It's so easy, and you can comment on each episode. And so people, if you want to comment, just
we've already got hardcore fans telling us what to do and commenting so nerd emojis.
Telling us what to do.
Yeah, exactly. And commenting the actually emoji. Yeah. It's fantastic. So. Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Ian, do you have anything else to say? Did I miss anything? At Ethan was taken on Instagram.
Yeah, or like he was saying before, you can go onto youtube.com/at Hindsight Studios, or just type in at Hindsight Studios in the search bar, and you can find the little, you can find all the stuff.
I realize there's also, I think there's other similar, I think I said this last week actually. Still, there's other similarly named podcasts to Bout Nothin Podcast.
Really?
They all aren't the exact same, legally different.
Yeah, legally
there's
different.
an About Nothing or Everything About Nothing, but there's no Bout Nothing. And
nothing
so I think we've locked it down with the apostrophes. I'm a genius.
Yeah. You're revolutionary, I will say, because I will say what you talked about the idea of this show.
Yeah,
forever.
I pitched the idea to you.
I want to have About Nothing podcast, a podcast about nothing. And I was like, for Ethan, perfect.
Yeah, because I'm very good at not shutting up. That's a very good talent of mine.
In case you want to know.
In case you were curious, local man on 2 podcasts can't shut up. No one's surprised. Oh, man. Thank you guys for listening. Bye.
We'll see you.
Yay, bye.
Bye.